We interviewed Dinesh D'Souza from the News Radio 970 WFLA studios for our radio program, American Medicine Today, which can be heard Saturdays at noon.
We will speak with Dinesh about the movie that questions the shaming of the U.S. through revisionist history, lies and omissions by educational institutions, political organizations, Barack Obama, and other progressives.
You know, I'm an immigrant, and I remember that first feeling I had of America when I first came here at the age of 17. That feeling has never left me, and I think it continues to define the spirit of America, the sense of possibility, the abundance that is enjoyed by the ordinary man, the idea that you can be the architect of your own destiny. So I've been kind of stunned to see over the years the ways in which there's a kind of progressive leftist critique of America that's not just in politics, but has now ensconced itself in schools, in colleges, in the media, in Hollywood. And so my film is a kind of course, I air that critique. I let the leftists rail against America, but ultimately I want people to leave the film falling in love with America all over again and wanting to fight for America.
A Florida State Senator here, maybe you want to elaborate on this one, Kimberly, Alan Hayes.
He was so impressed by your movie that he said he wants to introduce a one-page bill later this year, and the bill actually states that students in 1,700 Florida public high schools and middle schools are to be shown this film unless their parents object. And I think that's an absolute must, because right now you have the far left, and a lot of their books are being put into the school system, and it's mandatory reading. And if you're going to show far left viewpoints and things that aren't true about history, it should be mandatory that your book and or your movie is presented as well.
Well, you know, when I first heard about this, I flinched at the word mandatory, but then I realized, wait a minute, this is in college. In school, everything is mandatory.
Correct.
You know, it's not like you have options about what courses to take or what books to read. The school decides, you know, either they show Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11 or Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth, or they don't show it. If they show it, everybody watches it, unless their parents write a letter. And so this Florida legislator is doing nothing other than what's happening in the schools anyway. And what he's trying to say is, look, if you're going to get one perspective, if you will, the shame narrative, as I call it, America the inexcusable, isn't it nice to hear from an immigrant the other side of the story?
We're living in the American era, but this moment of American triumph is very fragile.
Of course we can say thievery was a critical element to the expansion of American empire and the establishment of the American way of life. Of course.
Reagan had called the Soviet Union, you remember, an evil empire, and the Soviet Union is dissolved. So who's the new evil empire?
Well, you're sitting in it.
How badly we need right now a Washington, a Lincoln, a Reagan. Well, we don't have them, but we do have us.